Hi guys, welcome back to Kia Coasters, and today we're going to be talking about the Blackpool Pleasure Beach and Alton Towers opening week, I suppose you could call it. When we went down, when we went down, to go see the parks. So obviously, because we're from Scotland, it's quite a long drive, so we can't go down every chance we get. So obviously, we couldn't make it for opening day, but we went to Blackpool Pleasure Beach on the 6th of July, and Alton Towers the 7th and the 8th. So today I'm just going to be going into detail of the pros and the cons due to the COVID situation, and just see what they're doing and tell you what they have in store for your next visit. So I'm going to start off with Blackpool Pleasure Beach because that's where we went first. So as I said, we went on the 6th of August, which was 2 days after the opening. So the pros were the day that we went, it was really nice weather, super warm, had to take our jackets off and everything. So that's just a pro in general. I know that's not up to them, but obviously Blackpool is right next to the beach, so it can be pretty cold when it's cold. So it was a really nice day when we went. So the dark rides were open, to my surprise, because as I'll get on talk about in the video, at Alton Towers and other places the dark rides aren't open, but Blackpool Pleasure Beach just had them open. So that's really good of them, and I really like the dark rides obviously. So I think we went on the Wallace and Gromit ride and the Alice in Wonderland. It was really good. Obviously, I love Alice in Wonderland. It's great. So does my mum. And Wallace and Gromit, I think, is one of actually the best dark rides I've been on in a while. Didn't manage to get on the ghost train, but that's because we went on a bunch of other rides that I'll get into detail on. The operations were reasonably smooth. Obviously, it's the start of season, so there's going to be some issues. Well, not the official start of season for Blackpool, as they opened in February, I think, or March. So the operations were reasonably smooth. Some rides shutting throughout the day, and some rides shut in general throughout the day. So Big One was closed, which was a bit of a con because I really wanted to go on Big One. But obviously, what can you do? It was supposedly due to high winds. So yeah, that's on the Big One being shut. But yeah, so operations were reasonably smooth. Icon had two trains on. So as one was dispatched, the other one was coming in, getting people on and off. So there was a good amount of trains as well, obviously. I think that the social distancing on some of the rides could have been a bit better, or made so that either more or less could get on. For example, Icon, not that I would want there to be less, but obviously it's safety is priority right now, or in general as well. The Icon trains, there was no separation on those, but it's understandable. But it's just compared to other rides throughout the whole park, such as Big Dipper, Nickelodeon Streak, Grand National, they were all separated, yet Icon wasn't, and the seat distance is pretty much the same, if not a tiny bit bigger. Not that big of a difference. So I'm kind of confused as to why they did it on all the other rides but didn't do it on Icon. But that's just, I guess, my opinion. It was really good. I got on around 19ish rides, I think, from what I remember. So I know for a fact, got on 6 Icon rides, and 3 of them were front row. So obviously right now you can't choose what row you sit in and stuff because of the COVID situation, so they just choose what row you go on. So went on Icon that day, Grand National, Nickelodeon Streak, Big Dipper, what else did I go on? Wallace and Gromit, the Derby Racers, Alice in Wonderland, all of that things, and I went on a couple V rides and stuff as well. Another con is, unlike Alton Towers or just the Merlin parks in general, there's no temperature checks as you go in. So, at Alton Towers, basically, as you're going in, I'll explain this later on again, as you're going in through the entrance, before you're allowed to get your ticket checked, they temperature scan you to make sure that you're fit enough to go into the park. So Blackpool Pleasure Beach didn't have this. So technically speaking, anyone could really go in as long as you had a mask. Most people were obeying social distancing, but obviously there's quite a lot of people that just don't or forget about it or whatever. But I had noticed on like outside queuing areas, everyone would social distance, but as soon as it got to inside, even if there's quite a big queue, like no one would social distance. If that makes any sense. So it, like, for example, Icon, as soon as you got to the bit that's behind the launch, like where the station is, like no one would social distance from there to inside Icon. Just that's what I had found anyway. Could be different on different days, I suppose, but that's what I found. Overall, Blackpool was a really good day. I had a really enjoyable time, nice and sunny as well. And yeah, good operations going on, great for social distancing. Obviously, you need to wear masks on all of the important rides, and you don't need to wear them just walking around the park, but on the rides, obviously, you would need to wear them. So that's really good of them. I would just suggest if you're going to Blackpool, make sure you bring a mask, number one, because a lot of people forget, and just make sure you know that you might not get on as many rides as normal, or you might get on even more than normal. It just depends on that day, I think, and how the operations are running. The Alton Towers. So we went to Alton Towers on the 7th and the 8th of July. So this is going off of my experience that we had. So the pros were, as you came in the gate, there was temperature checks and there was really, really good social distancing going on. So they had the chevrons, which is like little arrows painted onto the ground for each family to stand on as you're queuing up, so it's really good, and they're letting people in earlier than 10 o'clock so that everyone can get in. So I think one of the days we got in about 9:45, I think, and then another day we got in about 9:15, I think, so it was really good. Also, this is beside the point, but I suggest if you're going to get any merch, I suggest you leave to go to the park earlier in the morning, and then when they're letting you in, go to the shop then, because obviously due to social distancing, as you're leaving the park there's quite a decent sized queue that you'd need to wait in, and obviously you need to social distance in the shop. But if you're in early in the morning, there's not really much other people in, so the social distancing isn't as harsh, because then you can just walk where you need and go where you want instead of just like a one-way direction. I would suggest that. Wickerman was running with the flames on, which was really good. Really good to see. Apparently, the first day that we went was the first day that they had the flames on. Wickerman's also running on 3 trains, which was really good because it's getting the people through quicker. You got reminded very often about social distancing through the loudspeakers, and if you just look at the ground, you'll see all the arrows. So that was really, really good. Food outlets were open as well for takeaway, and as of now there is limited sitting in, but when we were there wasn't, but as of now there is. Some of the cons, the dark rides in the dark forest, the whole of the dark forest was completely shut off, and dark rides were shut, such as Jewel and Hex. So obviously that was a bit of a letdown, and it was more of a letdown the fact that I didn't really assume before going that Jewel and Hex would be open, but I had a feeling that 13 and Rita would be open. But due to weight distribution, 13 can't be open due to the drop section in it. Spoiler alert. The drop section, you need to have a certain amount of weight in the cart, and due to social distancing they can't like run the train if there's not enough weight on it. But as of now, Rita has been opened, and as of today, Jewel has been opened. So I'm very glad to hear that, but also very annoyed because we've just came back and now it's open. But here we go. As well as that, another con is a lot of people were not social distancing. Like Blackpool was semi decent. Like it was, I think, as good as you could expect it to be for Blackpool. But at Alton Towers there was just, like, in the queue there was so many people not social distance. So honestly, it's a bit upsetting when you just want to get back to the parks and other people aren't social distancing. Obviously with Lindsay, who has MS, it's quite annoying when you know that you just want to get back to the parks and have a fun time and stuff, but still be safe and stuff. And obviously Lindsay's at high risk, so if like someone got really close to us and say like cross contamination or whatever, then we could end up bringing that back to Lindsay, and that's just not very fair. So obviously we were really careful, making sure, like, I think we stayed a bit more than 2 meters apart most of the time, but we just wanted to make sure that we were safe. I don't blame that on Alton Towers at all. I completely blame that on the people that were there those days, because Alton Towers were often reminding, and there was obviously the chevrons in the ground. As well as that, the weather wasn't that great when we went. It was peeing down one of the days, and then the other day it was dry, but then there was some slight rain at some points. But on the whole, it was dry. Another bit of a disappointment was there was only 3 trains in the Smiler, and a pro first is on like all of the big rides, so like Smiler, Nemesis, Galactica, Oblivion, like they're doing like just like a family per row, or like on Oblivion, for example, like a family and then 2 or 3 seats or more than that, and then another family, and same thing. So it's good to see that. But I think Smiler was only running 3 trains, and I think they still could have run the regular 5. I know it would take longer for them to clean down, obviously. Oh, I forgot to mention that for Blackpool and Alton Towers, but they both have a clean down every 30 minutes to make sure that everything is alright. But obviously I know if there was 5 trains running in Smiler, it would take longer to clean down, but I think people would appreciate that more, and then more trains could be run, and then it would like eat through the queue quicker than just the 3 trains. Like, I think people wouldn't mind waiting longer for the deep clean if in general they got to queue longer. So that's just personal opinion though. As well, I was obviously at Alton Towers for 2 days, but I actually got on less rides at Alton Towers in 2 days than I did at Blackpool in 1 day. And we left Blackpool a bit early as well. I think we left half an hour earlier than it was closed. That was just so that we could get like travel down to Alton Towers. So that was a little bit disappointing, and obviously like Alton Towers didn't have all the rides open either, which was really disappointing. Because obviously if they had other rides open, then it would take away from some of the queues and the other rides. But obviously, like, there is, for both parks, but more so Alton Towers, even though there's less people in the park, like the capacity is a lot smaller than normal. I think it's 25% or something like that, like 8,000 a day. Although it's a lot smaller, they have to social distance on the rides, so the queue will still be roughly the same as it would like on a busy day during the summer. So most of the time I think queued about an hour most of the time. I think at one point though we queued like a good 90 minutes or something like that for Wicker Man at some point. And just, I would just say be wary with the queue times on the app, or just on the billboards and stuff, because I waited in a supposedly 85-minute queue for Smiler and got on in half an hour. So I would just, like, they're a lot better. Like the second day we were there, it was a lot better, and like the times were pretty much accurate. But the day before that like the 85-minute queue, for example, was there, and like it was fine to go on, and it was done in half an hour. So with that, I think if you're planning a trip away or just wanting to go to a theme park in general, I would probably, if you're wanting more rides in your day and you like the rides at Blackpool, I would suggest going to Blackpool because it's probably more worth your money. But obviously if you're like us and have a season pass and stuff, then Alton Towers is fair enough, and just you can go there and use your season pass. But obviously like you want to help out your theme parks the best you can, and that's the best way we know how, by going to the parks and getting on the rides and paying for our tickets. That's how you can help the parks out, and buying food in the parks and such. It was a good day at Alton Towers, don't get me wrong, good days, but I just think that maybe either more trains could be run, or I don't know, like sometimes if people weren't social distancing, the queues could look the exact same as they normally would, but obviously there's less trains running, or there's less people on the trains, so then you're waiting like double the length of time, for example. But I'll insert a picture here somewhere right now, or on my face or something, and I'll show you the Wickerman queue, because I think the last ride that we had of the day, on our second day, so the very last ride, there was great, like really, really good social distance happening on Wickerman, and I was actually really, really proud for that moment, that people were doing really good at social distancing. I'll also insert another picture after, for a time that I was queuing in Smiler, and like no, like we were being like followed straight behind like that, and there was just no social distancing going on. So that was a bit disappointing, but obviously I think they're getting better, but also getting worse, because people are just like, oh, it's just, we're back to the park now, everything's fine. But obviously everything's not fine yet. We're still in the middle of a pandemic, and we need to make sure we're safe. With that being said, I hope that you are all safe right now, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and letting me know, let me tell you what's going on with the parks right now. We're hopefully, to film a vlog if the rain isn't as bad as it was when we were there, because we tried to, and my phone was just getting covered in water. So this is why I'm doing a sit down video. But yeah, hopefully the weather will be better the next time we go, and I can film a vlog for you and just upload it the next day, because that's what ideally I wanted to do. So I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next Friday, or this Friday coming, because this video's late. So see you later. Bye.